Ever feel like you're fighting a war every single day? Not with weapons, but with your own mind? You know, that constant battle between what you should do and what you want to do. Between being kind and being right. Between peace and proving a point. It's a struggle that plays out in the smallest moments, the sharp retort you hold back during a tense meeting, the urge to interrupt when someone disagrees with you, the silent resentment that builds when you feel misunderstood. This internal conflict is more exhausting than any external battle, because it never truly ends. It follows you from the office to the dinner table, from your morning commute to the quiet hours of the night. What if I told you the greatest strategist of all time, Sun Tzu, and an ancient Chinese text, the I Ching, have a secret that flips everything you know about inner peace on its head? Here's the thing, they don't talk about winning battles. They talk about something way more radical. True benevolence. It's not about being nice. It's a strategy for life. And it starts with a question that might just change everything. Are you ready to rethink what peace really means? Imagine for a moment that peace isn't the absence of conflict, but the mastery of it. That's what we're diving into today. We'll explore how ancient wisdom, often misunderstood as passive or soft, actually offers the most aggressive and effective strategy for living a fulfilled life. So take a deep breath, set aside your preconceptions, and let's begin this journey together. Let me paint a picture for you. Think about the last time you were in a traffic jam, late for an important appointment. Your heart raced, your jaw clenched, and every second felt like an eternity. The car in front of you moved too slowly, and you felt a surge of anger. That's a battle. Or consider the moment you received a critical email from your boss, and your first instinct was to fire back a defensive reply. That's another battle. These are the skirmishes of daily life, and they drain your energy and peace. Now, imagine if you could step back and see these moments not as threats, but as opportunities to practice a higher form of strategy. That's what Sun Tzu and the I Ching offer, a way to transform conflict into harmony. The key is benevolence, but not the soft, passive version you might think. It's a fierce, intelligent, and deeply strategic choice. Let's explore this together. Here's the counterintuitive insight: true benevolence isn't about being soft. It's not about giving in or avoiding conflict. Confucius, the master of harmony, actually said that benevolence requires immense strength. Think about it. In The Art of War, Sun Tzu says, the supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. That's not about surrender. It's about strategy. It's about seeing the bigger picture. True benevolence is like that. It's not about being a doormat. It's about choosing your battles wisely. It's about understanding that sometimes, the most powerful move is to not engage. The I Ching, the Book of Changes, teaches us that all things flow and change. Benevolence is adapting to that flow, not fighting it. So, here's the truth: being benevolent is actually a sign of incredible inner strength. It's the ability to stay calm when everything around you is chaos. It's the choice to respond rather than react. And that, my friend, is a strategic move that can change your entire life. Consider the example of a seasoned diplomat negotiating a treaty. They don't shout or threaten, they listen, they understand, they find common ground. That's benevolence in action. Or think of a parent dealing with a tantrum. The easy path is to yell or give in. The harder, more benevolent path is to stay calm, set boundaries with love, and teach the child a better way. This requires tremendous self-control and wisdom. In your own life, when you feel that surge of anger or frustration, pause and ask, what would a truly strong person do? The answer is often not what your ego demands. Let me share a historical example from the Warring States period of China. There was a famous general named Tian Dan who was besieged in a city. Instead of attacking directly, he used psychological warfare and benevolence. He sent gifts and kind words to the enemy soldiers, which sowed doubt and division. Eventually, the enemy army fell apart without a major battle. That's the power of strategic benevolence. In modern terms, think of a leader who listens to their team's concerns and addresses them with empathy. That leader doesn't appear weak, they appear wise and strong. They earn loyalty and respect. So, the next time you feel the urge to fight, remember, true strength is often quiet and kind. Now, let's connect this to ancient wisdom. Confucius didn't just talk about benevolence in a fluffy way. He rooted it in a deep understanding of human nature. He said, benevolence is the heart of man. But here's the catch, it's not automatic. It's a practice. It's like a muscle you have to train. The I Ching echoes this. It says that true wisdom comes from aligning with the natural order of things. When you're benevolent, you're not forcing your will on the world. You're flowing with it. Sun Tzu would say this is the ultimate strategy. He wrote, if you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. True benevolence is knowing yourself deeply. It's understanding your own triggers, your own fears, your own desires. When you know yourself, you can choose benevolence not as weakness, but as a conscious, powerful act. The ancient sages knew that inner peace isn't about avoiding conflict. It's about mastering your own mind. And that mastery starts with a simple question: what would true benevolence look like right now? Let's break this down with a practical example. Imagine you're in a heated argument with a colleague. Your heart is racing, your palms are sweaty, and every fiber of your being wants to prove you're right. But if you know yourself, you recognize that this urge is driven by ego and fear of being wrong. True benevolence might mean taking a deep breath, acknowledging the other person's point, and saying, I see where you're coming from. Let's find a solution together. This doesn't mean you're weak, it means you're wise enough to prioritize the relationship over the argument. The I Ching teaches that water is the softest substance, yet it can wear down the hardest stone. Benevolence is like water, persistent, adaptable, and ultimately unstoppable. Let's go deeper. The practice of benevolence requires daily cultivation. Confucius himself said, the superior man is modest in his speech but exceeds in his actions. This means that true benevolence is not about grand gestures, but about consistent, small acts of kindness and understanding. For example, you might make it a habit to thank your coworkers sincerely, or to listen without interrupting when a friend is venting. These small acts build a foundation of trust and peace. Over time, they transform your character and your relationships. The I Ching's hexagram for peace, Tai, shows heaven and earth in harmony, symbolizing the balance that comes from benevolent action. When you act with benevolence, you create that harmony in your own life. Let me tell you a story. There was once a general who was facing a massive army. His own troops were outnumbered and exhausted. Every advisor told him to attack, to fight, to prove his strength. But the general remembered the teachings of the I Ching. He remembered that sometimes, the strongest move is to wait. So he did something unexpected. He sent a message to the enemy commander, offering a truce and a gift of food. The enemy was confused. They thought it was a trick. But the general's benevolence was genuine. He showed compassion even in the face of war. The enemy commander, moved by this act, agreed to negotiate. And a battle was avoided. That general didn't win by fighting. He won by being benevolent. This is the same principle Confucius taught: benevolence is the root of all virtue. When you act from a place of true benevolence, you disarm your opponents. You create a space for peace. And that's not weakness. That's the highest form of strategy. The story reminds us that in our own lives, we often think we need to fight to win. But sometimes, the most powerful thing we can do is extend a hand of kindness. It changes everything. Consider a more modern parallel. During the Cold War, there were moments when leaders chose diplomacy over confrontation, averting potential nuclear disasters. The Cuban Missile Crisis is a prime example where President Kennedy chose a naval blockade and back-channel negotiations instead of an immediate airstrike. That was a strategic act of benevolence, not soft, but incredibly calculated and strong. In your personal life, think of a time when you were in a conflict with a friend. Did you escalate or de-escalate? The choice to apologize first, or to listen without judgment, is a form of benevolent strategy that can save relationships and bring lasting peace. Let me share another historical example. During the Three Kingdoms period, the strategist Zhuge Liang famously used a strategy of empty city to deceive his enemy. He opened the city gates and played music, projecting calm and confidence. The enemy, suspecting an ambush, retreated. This was not an act of aggression, but of psychological benevolence, creating an illusion of strength through peace. In your own life, you can use similar tactics. When faced with a difficult conversation, you can choose to speak calmly and listen intently. This can diffuse tension and open the door to understanding. Benevolence is not passive, it's a proactive choice to shape the outcome with wisdom. So, how do you apply this to your modern life? Start small. Think about a conflict you're facing right now. Maybe it's with a coworker, a family member, or even yourself. Ask yourself, what would true benevolence look like here? It might mean listening instead of arguing. It might mean letting go of being right. It might mean setting a boundary with love, not anger. The I Ching says, the wise man adapts to circumstances. In your daily life, this means being flexible. It means choosing your battles. Sun Tzu's Art of War teaches us that the best victory is one that requires no battle. So, when you feel that urge to fight, pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself, is this worth my peace? Often, the answer is no. True benevolence is a practice. It's a daily choice to respond with wisdom instead of react with emotion. And over time, it becomes a habit. It becomes your default. And that's when you find real inner peace. Not because the world is peaceful, but because you are. You become a source of calm in the storm. And that, my friend, is the ultimate strategy for a happy life. Let's get practical. This week, try this. Before you respond to any potentially conflictual email or message, wait 30 minutes. Use that time to reflect on what a benevolent response would look like. You might be surprised at how often the best response is a kind one. Also, practice active listening. When someone is speaking, focus entirely on understanding their perspective, not on formulating your rebuttal. This simple shift can transform your interactions and reduce conflict dramatically. Remember, benevolence is not about being a pushover, it's about being so secure in your own strength that you can afford to be kind. Let me give you another practical exercise. Every morning, set an intention for the day. Tell yourself, today, I will practice benevolence in all my interactions. Then, at the end of the day, reflect on how you did. Did you succeed? Did you fail? What can you learn? This daily practice will train your mind to choose benevolence automatically. Over time, you'll notice that your stress levels decrease, your relationships improve, and you feel a deep sense of fulfillment. The ancient sages knew that this practice was the key to a harmonious life. They called it Ren in Chinese, which means both benevolence and human-heartedness. It's the essence of what it means to be truly human. Here's the MIC drop insight. True benevolence is not about being good for others. It's about being whole for yourself. Confucius said, the benevolent man is free from anxiety. Think about that. When you practice true benevolence, you let go of the need to control everything. You let go of the need to win every argument. You find freedom. The I Ching teaches that the highest wisdom is in embracing change. And the art of war reminds us that the greatest victory is over your own mind. So, here's the truth, inner peace isn't something you find. It's something you create. Every moment, you have a choice. You can fight, you can be benevolent. And the most powerful choice is often the quietest one. So, go out there and be strategically kind. Be wisely compassionate. Be peacefully strong. Because in the end, the art of inner peace is the art of being truly human. And that's a strategy that never fails. To wrap up, remember that this journey is not about perfection. It's about progress. You will have moments where you fail, where you react instead of respond, where you choose conflict over peace. That's okay. Each moment is a new opportunity to practice. The ancient sages knew that the path to wisdom is a lifelong endeavor. So be patient with yourself. Celebrate small victories. And keep asking that powerful question, what would true benevolence look like right now? As you integrate this practice into your life, you'll notice a shift. Relationships will improve, stress will decrease, and you'll experience a deep sense of fulfillment that comes from living in alignment with your true nature. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of the art of inner peace. If this resonated with you, please share it with someone who might need this wisdom. And remember, the greatest battle you will ever fight is the one within. And the greatest victory is the one won with benevolence. Let me leave you with one final thought. Imagine a world where everyone practiced true benevolence. Conflicts would dissolve, understanding would flourish, and peace would become the natural state of being. That world starts with you. Every act of kindness, every moment of patience, every choice to respond with love instead of fear, these are the building blocks of a better world. So go forth and be the change. Practice benevolence not as a duty, but as a joyful expression of your true self. And watch as your inner peace radiates outward, touching everyone you meet.